5 signs she's sexually unsatisfied and will cheat. Most men think their wives or girlfriends would never cheat, but sexual dissatisfaction is one of the top reasons women step outside their relationships, and most men don't see it coming. There are clear signs that she's not satisfied sexually, and if you're missing them, you're putting your relationship at risk. By the end of this video, you'll know the 5 signs that your partner is sexually unsatisfied to the point where she's vulnerable to cheating, or may already be cheating. This isn't about creating paranoia. This is about giving you awareness so you can fix problems before they destroy your relationship. Sign 1. Your sex life has dramatically decreased or disappeared. Let's start with the most obvious sign of sexual dissatisfaction, when your sex life dramatically decreases or disappears entirely. But here's what men miss. It's not just that she's less interested in sex generally. She's less interested in sex with you specifically. When a woman is sexually dissatisfied in a relationship, she often withdraws sexually from her partner. This withdrawal creates vulnerability to infidelity because her sexual needs still exist. They're just not being met by you. Look at the frequency. Used to have sex regularly, now it's rare or non-existent. She used to initiate sometimes, now she never does. When sex does happen, it feels obligatory. She's going through the motions. Sexual withdrawal from you doesn't mean she has no sex drive. It means she's not sexually attracted to you anymore, or you're not satisfying her. Unmet sexual needs don't disappear, they get met elsewhere. Notice the excuses. She's always too tired, has a headache, not in the mood. She goes to bed earlier or later than you to avoid intimacy. She creates physical distance, stays on her side of the bed, pulls away from touch. Chronic avoidance means she's actively not wanting sex with you. When women avoid sex with their partners, they're often getting sexual satisfaction elsewhere or are vulnerable to someone who shows sexual interest. Watch her engagement during sex. She's present physically, but checked out mentally. No passion, no engagement, no reciprocation. She doesn't seem to enjoy it and just wants it to be over. Lack of enthusiasm indicates she's not satisfied by the sex you're having, which creates risk she'll seek satisfying sex elsewhere. And notice that sexual tension has died. She doesn't talk about sex or flirt with you. She doesn't respond to your sexual advances or compliments. Conversations never have any sexual undertone anymore. Sexual energy between you has died, which means it might be directed elsewhere. Why are you missing this? You rationalize it as normal after years together or having kids. You're relieved you don't have to perform as much. You don't realize that dead bedrooms make partners vulnerable to affairs. You've normalized the level of sexual disconnection that's dangerous. Mark noticed his wife stopped initiating sex about a year ago. Then frequency dropped from weekly to monthly to almost never. When they did have sex, his wife seemed distant, present physically, but mentally somewhere else. Mark told himself it was normal after 10 years of marriage and 2 kids. His wife was just tired. Then Mark found messages on his wife's phone. She'd been having an affair with a coworker for 6 months. In the messages, she talked about feeling alive again and finally feeling desired. Mark's wife told him, "You stopped making me feel wanted. You stopped trying to satisfy me. He made me feel things I forgot I could feel." The dead bedroom hadn't meant she had no sex drive. It meant she wasn't getting satisfaction from Mark, so she found it with someone else. So acknowledge the decline honestly. Don't rationalize. If your sex life has died, address it. Have a direct conversation. I've noticed we're barely having sex. What's going on? Are you satisfied sexually? Ask what she needs. Sexual satisfaction requires understanding what she actually wants, not assuming you know. Put in effort. If you stop trying to be sexually attractive and attentive, start again. Consider counseling. Sex therapy can address issues before they lead to infidelity. Sign 2. She's suddenly more interested in her appearance and sexuality. When a sexually dissatisfied woman suddenly starts investing heavily in her appearance, sexuality, and attractiveness, but not for you, it's a massive red flag. She's working out more, dressing sexier, paying attention to grooming and appearance in ways she hasn't in years. But this renewed attention to sexuality isn't directed at you or your sex life. This paradox, she's becoming more sexual but less sexual with you, often indicates she's either already cheating or is preparing to. Watch for major investment in appearance. Suddenly working out intensely, dieting, focused on her body. New wardrobe, sexier, more revealing clothes. Changed hair, makeup, overall appearance enhancement. When women increase attractiveness efforts dramatically, but you're not the beneficiary, someone else is. She's making herself sexually appealing, just not for you. Noticed increased interest in lingerie, grooming, sexuality. Buying new lingerie, but you never see it. Grooming habits change, waxing, perfume, attention to details. Suddenly interested in sexual topics, sexual health, sexual attractiveness. The sexual self-focus should benefit your sex life. If it doesn't, it's benefiting someone else's. She's going out more, dressing up when she didn't before. Suddenly has girls' nights or events that require dressing provocatively. Putting effort into appearance for occasions that don't include you. Her attractiveness is on display for everyone except you. When sexual display is public but not private with you, she's advertising availability. And notice she's more sexual but not with you. She seems more aware of her sexuality, more confident sexually. But this sexual energy isn't directed at your relationship. She's sexually alive, just not in your bedroom. Sexual reawakening that doesn't include you means it's including someone else.
Why are you falling for it? You're happy she's taking care of herself and assume it's for health or self-esteem. You don't connect the dots that increased sexuality should mean increased sex with you. You don't want to be suspicious or controlling by questioning it. Your desire not to seem insecure prevents you from seeing the obvious pattern. Over 6 months, Tom noticed his wife completely transformed her appearance. She lost 30 pounds, started wearing makeup daily, bought a new wardrobe of tight dresses and revealing tops. She joined a gym and went religiously. She seemed more confident, more sexual in how she carried herself. Tom was happy for her, until he realized their sex life hadn't improved at all. In fact, it had gotten worse. His wife was dressing sexily for work, for girls' nights, for the gym, but at home with Tom, she wore sweatpants and avoided intimacy. When Tom finally checked her phone, he found explicit messages with her personal trainer. His wife had been having an affair for months. All the apparent enhancement, all the sexual energy, it had been for the affair partner, not for Tom. Her increased sexuality had never been about their marriage. So notice the paradox. Is she more sexual generally, but less sexual with you? Have a direct conversation. I notice you're putting a lot of effort into your appearance, which is great, but our intimacy hasn't improved. What's going on? Investigate if answers don't add up. If explanations don't explain the pattern, look deeper. Don't ignore gut feelings. If something feels off about this pattern, trust that instinct. Be prepared for uncomfortable truth. This pattern often indicates active or imminent infidelity. Sign 3. She's emotionally withdrawn and critical of you. Sexual dissatisfaction doesn't exist in isolation. It creates emotional distance and resentment. When a woman is sexually unsatisfied, she often becomes emotionally withdrawn from her partner and increasingly critical. She picks fights over small things. She seems annoyed by you constantly. She's cold, distant, or hostile where she used to be warm. This emotional withdrawal serves 2 purposes. It creates justification for seeking satisfaction elsewhere, and it creates emotional distance that makes cheating easier to rationalize. Watch for constant criticism and contempt. Everything you do irritates her. She criticizes you constantly, your appearance, habits, choices. There's contempt in how she talks or about you. When sexual dissatisfaction festers, it turns into generalized resentment that manifests as criticism. Contempt is a predictor of both divorce and infidelity. She's mentally devaluing you. Notice emotional distance and coldness. She stopped being affectionate. No touching, kissing, warmth. Conversations are superficial or hostile. No real connection. She doesn't share her feelings, thoughts, life with you anymore. Emotional withdrawal creates space for someone else to fill the void. When she stops turning to you emotionally, she's likely turning to someone else. She picks fights and seems to want conflict. She starts arguments over nothing. She seems to be looking for reasons to be angry at you. Conflict has replaced connection in your relationship. Creating conflict gives her justification for emotional and physical distance and for seeking comfort elsewhere. And she compares you unfavorably to others. My friend's husband does this, or other men do that. She's highlighting what you don't do or don't provide. Comparisons indicate she's thinking about what's missing with you. Unfavorable comparison often means she's comparing you to someone specific, possibly an affair partner. Why are you missing it? You think she's just stressed or going through a phase. You're fighting back instead of questioning why the hostility exists. You don't connect emotional withdrawal to sexual dissatisfaction and infidelity risk. You're treating symptoms, her anger, without diagnosing the disease. For months, Jake's wife had been cold and critical. She snapped at him constantly. Nothing he did was right. She picked fights over dishes, his clothes on the floor, how he loaded the dishwasher. When Jake tried to be affectionate, she pulled away. When Jake tried to talk, she was dismissive or hostile. Jake thought his wife was stressed with work. Then, Jake discovered text messages between his wife and her boss. The messages were sexually explicit and emotionally intimate. In one message, his wife wrote, "He doesn't appreciate me. He doesn't even see me anymore. You make me feel alive." His wife had been creating emotional distance and devaluing him to justify the affair she was having. All the constant criticism hadn't been about dishes. It had been about building resentment to rationalize cheating. So connect the dots. Sexual dissatisfaction plus emotional withdrawal plus criticism equals high infidelity risk. Address it directly. You seem angry at me constantly and emotionally distant. What's really going on? Don't just fight back. Understand that hostility is often a symptom of deeper issues. Examine your relationship honestly. Are her complaints valid? Have you stopped meeting her needs? Demand transparency. If emotional withdrawal is severe, you have a right to know if someone else is involved. Sign 4. She's secretive about her phone, schedule, and whereabouts. When sexual dissatisfaction leads to cheating or near cheating, secrecy follows. Her phone becomes guarded, her schedule is vague, you don't really know where she is or who she's with anymore. The secrecy creates the space necessary for an affair. In the context of sexual dissatisfaction, the secretiveness often indicates she's either already having an affair or is in the emotional affair stage that precedes physical infidelity. Her phone is suddenly off limits, changed passwords, guards phone constantly, takes it everywhere, defensive when you're near it, angles away when texting, new apps, secret messaging platforms, hidden communications. Extreme phone protection indicates communication she's hiding, often with affair partners.
Her schedule is vague and unaccountable. You don't really know where she is or what she's doing. Running errands takes 3 hours with no explanation. Work hours extend mysteriously, or she has new work events. Vague schedules create unaccounted time for affairs. When you can't account for her time, she's using that time with someone else. Watch for new friends or work relationships. Suddenly mentions a new male friend or coworker constantly. Talks about this person more than seems normal. Gets defensive when you express concern about the relationship. Affair partners often start as just friends. The defensiveness reveals it's more. She's going out more without you. More girls' nights, gym sessions, work events, reasons to be away from home. Doesn't invite you or want you included in these activities. These outings don't have the transparency normal activities have. Increased time away from home, especially in the context of sexual dissatisfaction at home, creates affair opportunity. Why are you missing it? You don't want to be that guy who's controlling or suspicious. She accuses you of being paranoid when you question things. You rationalize that she deserves privacy and independence. But healthy privacy is different from suspicious secrecy. Brian's wife had always been open with her phone until suddenly she wasn't. New password, phone face down, taking it to the bathroom.
When Brian asked about it, his wife said he was being controlling. Around the same time, his wife started going to the gym 5 nights a week, 2-hour sessions. She joined a book club that met twice a week. She had work drinks regularly. Brian never knew exactly where she was anymore. When Brian checked phone records, hundreds of texts to one number, a male coworker. When Brian checked the gym, the staff said they rarely saw his wife. The book club didn't exist. Work drinks were hotel meetings with the coworker. Brian's wife had created an entire secret life. The phone protection and vague schedule had been hiding a year-long affair. And it had all started when their sex life died and his wife's needs weren't being met at home. So notice the pattern change. Was she open before and suddenly isn't? That's a red flag. Ask direct questions. Why has your phone and schedule become so secretive? Don't accept you're being paranoid. Gaslighting is a tactic to avoid accountability. Verify schedule claims. If something doesn't add up, check. Trust, but verify. Prepare for potential truth. Secrecy in the context of sexual dissatisfaction often means an active affair. Before we get to the final sign, if this video is opening your eyes to problems you've been ignoring, hit that subscribe button. We give you real talk about relationships that could save your marriage. All right, let's talk about the most direct sign. Sign 5, she's getting sexual satisfaction somewhere, but not from you. The most direct sign, she's sexually satisfied, just not by you. She seems sexually fulfilled, relaxed, glowing, but your sex life is dead. She's happier, less stressed, more confident sexually. This paradox is the clearest indication that her sexual needs are being met, just not in your relationship. When a woman is sexually satisfied but not having sex with her partner, the source of satisfaction is external. She seems sexually satisfied despite no sex with you. She has a glow, seems relaxed, sexually fulfilled, but you haven't had sex with her in weeks or months. The sexual satisfaction is coming from somewhere, just not you. Sexual satisfaction has physical and emotional tells. If they're present without sex with you, she's having sex with someone else. Watch for physical evidence of sexual activity. She showers immediately when she gets home, washing off evidence. Unexplained marks, bruises, or physical changes. Changes in her sexual preferences or requests based on experiences with someone else. Physical evidence reveals physical activity. Trust what you observe. When physical signs of sexual activity don't match your sexual activity with her, someone else is involved. Notice she's happier, less stressed, more fulfilled. Her mood is better despite your relationship being distant. She's fulfilled emotionally and physically. She's less needy of you because needs are being met elsewhere. Affair partners provide the excitement and satisfaction that creates this noticeable mood improvement. And sexual behavior changes. If you do have sex, she does things she's never done before. New techniques, preferences, or knowledge she didn't have before. These changes indicate sexual experiences with someone else. Sexual behavior learned elsewhere gets brought into or withheld from your bedroom. Why are you missing it? You're happy she seems happy, and don't question the source. You don't want to believe the obvious explanation. You rationalize away evidence because accepting truth is painful. But evidence of sexual satisfaction, despite no sex with you, means only one thing. For months, Steve and his wife hadn't had sex, maybe once every 2 months, and she seemed disinterested. But Steve noticed his wife seemed happier, more confident, even sexually energized. She'd come home from work events glowing, relaxed, satisfied looking. She'd shower immediately. One night, Steve noticed a hickey on his wife's neck. When Steve asked about it, his wife said she'd burned herself with a curling iron, but Steve knew what he saw. Steve hired a private investigator. The PI followed his wife to a hotel where she met a man from her office. Security footage showed them in passionate embraces. Steve's wife had been having an affair for 8 months. The sexual satisfaction Steve had noticed, the glow, the confidence, the fulfillment, it had all been from the affair. His wife's needs were being met, just not by Steve. So notice the pattern change. If she seems satisfied but you're not having sex, investigate. Look for physical evidence, marks, immediate showering, behavioral changes. Connect all signs. Sexual satisfaction plus dead bedroom plus secrecy plus emotional distance equals affair. Confront with evidence. If you have proof, address it directly. Be prepared for truth. This level of evidence usually confirms what you suspect. If you want to learn how to actually satisfy your woman sexually so she never even thinks about cheating, watch our next video on the 5 ways to sexually satisfy your woman. Prevention is better than dealing with infidelity. Links in the description. Sexual dissatisfaction doesn't just hurt your relationship, it makes your partner vulnerable to infidelity. Women who aren't sexually satisfied don't stop having sexual needs. They just get those needs met elsewhere. If you recognized multiple signs in this video, your relationship is either heading toward infidelity or already there. The question is, are you going to address this before you lose her, or are you going to keep ignoring signs until it's too late? Be honest with yourself. When was the last time you made your wife or girlfriend feel sexually desired? When did you last put real effort into satisfying her sexually? When did you last have a real conversation about whether she's happy with your sex life? If you can't answer these questions, you're part of the problem. Sexual dissatisfaction doesn't come from nowhere, and women don't cheat for no reason. If she's unsatisfied, you need to figure out why and fix it, or accept that someone else will. If this video opened your eyes to problems you've been ignoring, subscribe to this channel. We give you real talk about relationships that could save your marriage. Drop a comment telling me which sign you recognized, or if you've dealt with a partner cheating due to sexual dissatisfaction, share what you learned. Your relationship's sexual health is your responsibility too. Don't wait until she's cheating to start paying attention. Address sexual dissatisfaction now before it destroys everything. Have the uncomfortable conversations. Put in the effort. Make her feel desired and satisfied. Because if you don't, someone else will.